Saturday night, being on the road driving? Well, if you're a trucker, you know the answer to that question, because if the wheels aren't turning, we're not earning, as the old saying goes. What am I yammering about today? Well, today, even though it's almost over, is my first official day of driving as an independent motor carrier. Yes, sirree, Bob, I have made the complete transition from lease agreement owner-operator to sole proprietor motor carrier. However you want to define it, I am beholden to no one in terms of whose name is on the side of my truck, because now it's my name. It is my business, my truck. am familiar with the reputation. I do know that they are not beloved in the trucking community because of some shady practices they've been accused of or been caught red-handed engaging in. But I have to say, at least for the moment, things are looking pretty good with them now. The future may hold a different story, but so far, as a new authority with not a whole lot of options, TQL's working with me, and these first few loads are paying pretty decent, so it's working out. The third load that I have with them, one of their brokers one of their agents actually called me and said, "Hey, you're going to have a truck in this area?" And I said, "Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I will." And said, "Okay, well, I've got a load that's picking up on Monday evening at this time, and it's delivering next morning up in this area. And I won't beat around the bush. This is my best all-in rate of this amount." I looked at the mileage, looked at the numbers. I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I think I can do this," just because it's a good situation where that load is. Time-wise, the time it's going to let me save, and just kind of catch my breath on Monday, make sure I've got my first two loads properly uploaded and factored and filed with my factoring company so that I've got everything sorted out and I can get all the last little bit of details sorted out with them, make sure that I'm not missing anything, or if there's any problems with my process, I get those sorted out in good time to make sure that I'm going to get paid and that everyone's going to get their paperwork and their proof of delivery and all that good stuff sorted out. So it's a nice little breather, this load, and then I'll probably be trying to get back to it pretty hard for the remainder of the week. Tuesday, then we'll probably try to get back home for a 34 next Friday or Saturday. I don't know, we'll see how it shakes out, because not having to worry, so to speak, about booking freight through the weekend to make sure that I've got settlements following a certain way because I'm supposed to be factored now. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a much lower stress situation than being leased on with a carrier. I have to worry about, when do I complete a particular load in order to make sure it's on a particular settlement, whether it's going to be the current week settlement or the next week settlement, to make sure I have money falling at the right time to make sure my bills get paid. Whereas now, within 24 hours, on any weekday, whenever I factor a load, whenever I send the paperwork, it's like, okay, within 24 hours I'm getting paid on that load. And that's a good deal to be in, because there were a few times over the last year where when fuel was spiking up pretty high and rates were just plummeting, things were getting real tight, and I had a lot of maintenance bills fall really, really poorly, and that just zapped my reserves. Like it was nail biting there for a little while. Now, though, I feel like I'm in a situation where things are going to be a lot better as long as I take care of managing my money, make sure I manage my workload, keep things consistent, and just operate in such a way where I know when money is going to need to be spent, such as to pay my fuel card bill, and that I've always got reserve funds ready to rock and roll in case of issues, and that my obligations are going to be met. survive. And I'm hoping that I will end up proving myself to be one of them, because I've spent the last 2.5 years essentially learning how to operate a truck first, in terms of, fuel, maintenance, planning for expenses, planned maintenance versus emergency maintenance, tires, suspension, exhaust, and then now the last almost a year, learning how to operate a truck with a trailer that I own, dealing with that maintenance, dealing with how that trailer is received by certain shippers. I know that there are certain loads I just can't book with this particular trailer because of how it's set up. It has really thick scuff liners, and so there's a couple, like if I want to do aluminum cans, like for beverage can makers, like Ball Manufacturing, I can't do loads for them because they will reject my trailer because there's not enough floor space for them to get 3 pallets in side by side. I just cram that trailer all the way full. So it's unfortunate because I like that freight. It's nice, it's light, it's easy, it pays well, but my equipment they will not accept my equipment. It is what it is. However, on the other hand, I do have the flexibility to do power sports, at least I might, because again, I have a lot of vertical E-tracks in my trailer, so that creates a lot of opportunities for the folks who deal in power sports to load those products on my trailer and secure them. I actually did a power sports load just a couple of weeks ago. That was a lot of fun. But, that's not what you hear earlier. Anyway, getting on a bit of a rabbit trail here, so I'm just kind of close this video up by saying it's been a long road to get to this point, and I'm glad I'm finally realizing my plan, because this was the plan all along, to eventually end up as my own carrier, my own enterprise, my own authority, my own truck, my own trailer, because my overall life goals, because of how society is right now, because of how men are perceived, it is to my advantage to be as flexible as possible in order to meet the needs not only of myself, but potentially of my own family at some point down the road, where if I need to be home for a stretch, it's okay, the bills are paid. If I need to be